Good evening. Wednesday night here at Blue Tarp Hill, getting ready to wrap things up for today and head back home to my wonderful honey bun. But just want to do a quick video on egg production today. If you watched any of the other videos with the chickens, we got some good producing eggs, consistent producers. Right now we do have a couple of them that's Brody that's been setting the eggs. Maybe I'll get some little chicks coming out of it, but most of you have all seen some of the production, but today was an overabundance, and I actually had to call Honey Bun over at the house, and I called her and she answered, and I said, "Hun, I'm in big trouble. I need your help." And her first thought was, "Oh my gosh, I'm heading to Blue Tarp Hill. Well, what is wrong?" For the reason, the last time I called her like that, I'd shot myself with a air nailer and run a 2.5-inch nail all the way through my finger, all the way. And I tried to pull it out, but I couldn't get it. And so she come up with a lot of confidence and just shook her head at me and pulled that thing out, and I got back to work. So when she hears stuff like that from me, you break your leg, what you do. Thankfully, tonight, by the grace of God, there was no accidents, but what I did have was an overabundance of eggs. So I had to ask her, I said, "Hon, I really need you to take some eggs." And she's like, "Oh, bring all that you can, 6 dozen. It's going to be closer to 12. And she said, "No problem, bring them." So I wanted to go ahead and just give you an idea. So as most of you know, I come over, I get my baskets, I fill them up, over a period of a week or so. That takes some time. Tonight was a good night because it's very rainy and nasty out, so I stayed here and cleaned some eggs up. There's a table behind me. I just sit down, get a little cup of water. I don't scrub the eggs. I don't, to the point of really grinding into them, or don't use a steel wool thing. Basically, all I'm doing is knocking the dust off of them, getting a little bit of scat stain off of them. So they're good and clean for whoever's going to consume them. But I want to give you an idea of what we got with my wonderful birds. They take really good care of Shirley and I. But inside the refrigerator here, as you can see, we have a tremendous amount of eggs. Now there's 44 dozen there. I've already counted. There's 44 dozen there. And that little drawer there, different cartons that I don't normally use. I got some on hand if any of the neighbors come by and want to get some. But I'm telling you guys, that's a lot of eggs. So 44 times 12. I don't know. Y'all got to remember, I graduated in the top 10 of my class, and there was only 11 of us in there, right? So as you come over here, so 44 dozen, plus we got 2 18-packs and 2 6-packs. So that's another 6 dozen. So that's 50 dozen. 50 dozen. I'm taking those down to work. Got a couple employees in there that I promised some eggs to, so take some down there. And then, on top of it, we're not done yet. Right here we got another 12 dozen packaged up. I'll be taking them home tonight as well, and we'll store them down at the house. That way, it supplies Shirley and I, and our kids and, family and what have you, so she'll have some of them down there. On top of that, I always keep 2 dozen, so I got my couple dozen here in the refrigerator, in case I get hungry up here and want to fry up some eggs. And the guys, I will say, check out that cooler. And I want to thank my sister Debbie for giving me the opportunity to bid on that. We won that in a bid, so it's really cool. I love the cooler. So, what we got? 12 dozen, 44, plus the 6. I don't know. I even lost count. I can tell you it's a lot of eggs. So, in the pan here, I've got another 13 eggs. And these eggs came from, as I was doing the cleanup. Every now and then you'll get them to where they have a crack in them, or maybe even a little bit too dirty, where what'll happen is, you'll get a clutch of eggs that maybe has, 3 or 4 of them in it, and a bird will come in and, drop another egg, and it cracks on top of the others. And then you get all that yolk and membrane and stuff that pretty sticky there at first, so it sticks to all the dirt and all that kind of stuff, and they're pretty nasty to clean up. So I've come to the point now where I don't clean them up at all. Basically what I do, any blemished eggs, anything that's cracked, anything that's real dirty, I crack them up. I just don't put anything in them. Just do the, I'll scramble them up real quick, simple, easy, takes a few minutes. And then tomorrow I'll feed them back to the birds as a snack. And they love them. Even on those when they're cracked, sometimes you break them, the eggshells go into the scrambled. And for us, that wouldn't be good. But for the birds, they like the eggshells too. And here's a good example of that. So what we have here is some dried eggshells that are crushed. And we do feed these back to the birds. So these are from the last fry-up I did, or last scrambled set that I did. Dehydrated them out, 4 hours at 105 degrees. Get all that membrane and stuff like that, and then I crush them down, feed them back to the birds, and it makes their shells harder, and they love it as a treat. So the eggs that I did up tonight are now in the dehydrator. So we have another batch sitting in there, and those will be ready in about 3 hours and 28 minutes. And once again, I'll give these to the birds tomorrow, and then I'll have another batch to give them in another day or so. And everyone says, nowadays, you get so many eggs, what about selling them? And we never got into the whole chicken thing for a money thing. I mean, honestly, guys, by the time you put a coop up and use up the square footage of land and provide the feed and the straw and everything that kind of goes into it, I mean, you really don't get into eggs on a flock of 22 hens and one rooster. We don't get into that for money thing. I do think that I could sell some off, but really it's not worth the time. I enjoy giving them away, and I definitely like having my stockpile. But I am very protective of the eggs. I just don't take it lightly to give eggs away. I mean, it takes a lot of work, to do this stuff. So if anything was to try to, get my chickens or get my eggs or, chicken thieves or whatever you want to call it, I got that covered. I can promise you I got that covered. So what we have here, ladies and gentlemen, is a Smith & Wesson 500 Magnum. So, as Clint would say, the most powerful handgun in the world. Poor imitation, but I think you all get the point. Smith & Wesson 500 Magnum. I love that gun. My son loves that gun too. He's the one that told me to select that one. To the best of my knowledge, that is the most powerful handgun that you can own as a civilian without any military stuff. And just kind of give you an idea, that's the bullet to it. Now that revolver does hold 5 of these. Now my fingers are pretty big, guys. My fingers are, I think, size 15 the last time I got a ring size. So I don't have small hands, and that's taking up three of the fingers. And then if you kind of compare it to a pepper shaker, it's pretty good size. So God forbid if something tried to get a hold of my chickens or take my eggs, or I guess for that part just flat out piss me off, right? That 500 would probably do pretty good for any of that. But any rate, signing off from Blue Tarp Hill. The sun has went down, and we'll package up all these eggs. Hope me giving this little video on how I handle the egg production has helped somebody or will help somebody in the future. Love the eggs. I love just dealing with the whole thing. I don't know why. It's enjoyable for those of you that have chickens and enjoy them. I mean, you know exactly what I'm talking about. It's pretty cool, especially when I sit back and look at 44, 50, 60, 62, 63, 65 dozen plus one. 65 dozen, times 12 is whatever. That's a lot. There's like 600 and 700 eggs, something like that. I don't know. And this is a weekly, reoccurring deal. Yeah. Love my chickens. If you like it, share it, subscribe to it. Join me again on Blue Tarp Peel. Help Shirley and I out. This weekend coming up, we're going to be back onto the house. We do have the foundation up and coming out of the ground, so now you can see it from the main road. And still have several weekends to deal with it, but I'll probably be doing another video on that this weekend. So for those who get into chickens, God bless. I mean, what a wonderful thing. For those of you who are not, if you need eggs, just hit me up. I got you covered. Don't try to take them though. The 500 might have to introduce itself. Thank you guys. Have a good evening.